So we're going to be talking about the combinations formula. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at that combinations formula. So today we're just going to do a word problem. So I just want you to kind of pay attention. You don't actually have to write anything down for this one because I know it's not on your note sheet. So basketball league has 5 teams. 2 teams are chosen to play one another. How many different matchup teams are there? Let's call them Team A, Team B, Team C, Team D, and Team E. So Team A can play Team B, Team A can play Team C, Team A can play Team D, and Team A can play Team E. Now, let's go ahead and let's write out some other pairs. Well, I don't need to write the fact that Team B can play Team A because Team A playing the Team B is the same as B playing A. So here the order doesn't matter. Team B can also play Team C. Team B can play Team D. Team B can play Team E. Same with C. We're going to go CD and then CE. And last but not least, we're going to have DE. So this right here represents all the different combinations of ways we can pick the team. Now notice that word I use, combinations. So that's what we're going to be talking about today is combinations and the combinations formula. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at combinations. Combinations is an arrangement of listing of objects where the order is not important. Okay, so that's the biggest thing about this entire unit or this section right here is that order doesn't matter. Okay? So the order of this does not matter. So let's take a look at that combinations formula. So we have n choose r is equal to n factorial divided by n minus r factorial times r factorial. So what you're going to notice is this looks a lot like the permutations formula, except that there's that extra r factorial on the bottom. That r factorial is what makes it a combination, because there's going to be less choices. All right, let's take a look at number 1. So we want to evaluate 6 choose 2. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to have 6 factorial divided by 6 minus 2 factorial times 2 factorial. Simplify that out a little more. We get 6 factorial divided by 4 factorial, 2 factorial. So now I'm going to go ahead and write out my factorial. So for 6 factorial, I have 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Then on the bottom, I have 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, and then 2 times 1. So now let's go ahead and let's cross off anything that's overlapping. So we have 4, 3, 2, 1. So what I did is I canceled out the most that I could. So 4 all the way to 1 was my biggest factorial. So I canceled 4 all the way to 1 up top. So then up top I'm left with 6 times 5, and that's being divided by 2 times 1. Well, 6 times 5 is 30, 2 times 1 is 2, 30 divided by 2 is 15. So 6 choose 2 is 15. Let's go ahead and let's do that again now for this next one. So now we're going to do 8 choose 3. So we're going to have 8 factorial divided by 8 minus 3 factorial times 3 factorial. So that's going to be 8 factorial divided by 8 minus 3 factorial, which is 5 factorial, and then we get 3 factorial. So then on top, I'm going to multiply on down, and then I'm going to take care of that 5 factorial, which is 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, and that 3 factorial, which is 3 times 2 times 1. So now I'm going to cancel out the bigger factorials that are overlapping, which are the 5. So I have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So then left on top, I have 8 times 7 times 6. Well, that's going to be 336. And then on the bottom, I have 3 times 2 times 1, which is 6. So I have 336 divided by 6, which is going to give me 56. So number 2 is going to be 56. Next, let's take a look at number 3. So now we want to evaluate 5 choose 2. So on top, I have 5 factorial. On the bottom, I have 5 minus 2 factorial times 2 factorial. So this extra 2 factorial is what makes it different than a permutation. That's what makes it a combination. So I have 5 factorial divided by 3 factorial, 2 factorial. So I'm going to go ahead and write that out. So I have 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Divided by 3 times 2 times 1 times 2 times 1. So again, I'm going to eliminate the bigger factorial. So I'm going to take care of 3. So I'm going to take care of 3 times 2 times 1, 3 times 2 times 1. So left on top, I have 5 times 4, which is going to give me 20, divided by 2 times 1, which is 2, and that's going to give me 10. So that's your final answer for number 3. Next, let's take a look at number 4. So for number 4, we're going to go ahead and evaluate this. So we have 5 factorial divided by 5 minus 3 factorial, and then we have to add on that extra 3 factorial. So that's going to be equal to 5 factorial divided by 2 factorial, 3 factorial. So then on top, I'm going to have 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And on the bottom, I'm going to have 2 times 1 times 3 times 2 times 1. So in this case, it ends up that that's the bigger factorial. So I just figure out whichever the bigger factorial is, and that's what I'm going to cancel out. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel out 3, 2, 1 on both the top and the bottom. Then on top, I'm left with 5 times 4, which is 20, and I'm dividing by 2 times 1, which is 2. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So there's a mind blow for you. 5 choose 2 is the same as 5 choose 3. That makes sense, right? Because when we subtract, we end up having the same factorials on the bottom, just in a different order. So you will sometimes have it end up being the same number. Okay? All right, next, let's go ahead and let's take a look now at number 5. So for number 5, what we're going to do is we're going to take first, we're going to have 7 factorial, then we're going to do 7 minus 4 factorial times 4 factorial. So then that's 7 factorial divided by 3 factorial, 4 factorial. So then let's write out our 7 factorial. So 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 divided by 3 times 2 times 1 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, because we're doing each one of those factorials separately. So now I'm going to cross off the bigger factorial, which is 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. So now we're going to simplify the tops. We have 7 times 6 times 5. That's going to give us 210. Then we have divided by 3 times 2 times 1. That gives us 6. 210 divided by 6 is going to give us 35 for number 5. Next, let's take a look at number 9. So for number 9, we're going to have 9 factorial divided by 9 minus 5 factorial times 5 factorial. So that's going to give us 9 factorial divided by 4 factorial and then 5 factorial. So then what we need to do next is simplify this out. So we have 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Then we're going to write out the two different factorials. So we have 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Then we have 5 factorial, which is 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Well, we can cross off the bigger one, which is 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And now we're going to multiply out the top. So first and foremost, we're going to take 9 times 8 times 7. So we're going to do 9 times 8 times 7 times 6. And that's going to give us 3,024. And then we're going to do 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is going to give us 24. So then you're going to take 3,024 and divide that by 24, and you end up getting 126. So 9 choose 5 is 126. Next, let's go ahead and review the quadratic formula. So remember that the quadratic formula is opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. So now let's plug in what we know. Remember, a always is with the square term, so our a is equal to 1, our b is always with the x term, so our b is 4, and our c is negative 7. So now we're going to plug this into that quadratic formula. So we're going to have x is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, all of that over 2 times a. So now remember, we simplify just underneath the radical. We don't put the radical symbol in, we're just going to simplify underneath. So 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 7 is going to give us 44 divided by 2. So now we want to take our two versions. So first version, we're going to have the plus. So we're going to do negative 4 plus the square root of 44. Type that into your calculator and hit enter. Then you're going to take that and divide it by 2. When you do that, you end up getting 1.32. Next, we're going to take negative 44 and we're going to subtract the square root of 44, hit enter, see what that answer is in our calculator, then take that and divide it by 2. Then you get negative 5.32. So each of these right here are your final answers for that quadratic formula. So that concludes your note video. Go ahead and show me your note sheet when you're done. Thanks for listening.